my country. Breaking a hole. You digging up my roses. Roll my roll. Johnnie Garry,
My name's Johnnie Garry. I'm production coordinator for Jazzmobile, New York City. And today I'm sitting with my friend. I guess he's going to ask me some questions. I hope I can fulfill them. I can't tell him no secrets about musicians, but I'll tell him what I know and I think he can use.
Tell me where you came from, how you got into the business.
You mean where I was born?
Where you were born.
I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina, but I consider myself a New Yorker because I've been here since I'm 5 years old, right? But I got into business. I don't know how many of you out there will know about Josh White. He was a folk singer, and he lived in my block where I lived, 151st Street, off of Convent. And he was singing in the club Cafe Society downtown. And there was a gentleman down there that took care of the stage, put the piano out and all of that, named Julius. And apparently that night he was sick. So Josh White asked me if I wanted to make $20. I said, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yes." So I said, "What do I got to do?" He says, "I need a guy to work the stage down at Cafe Society." So I went with him. And they told me I had to put this piano out for Hazel Scott and blah, blah, blah. And the owner, Bonnie Joseph, was saying to me, he said, "Oh, you have to do this very slowly when you push the piano out and blah, blah." I said, "I don't know." I said, I ain't never been in front of people. So anyway, it's time for me to do that. And I whipped that piano out, caught the keyboard, and when Hazel came on, I put the stool under, which they said had never been done. And everything was smooth, but the next day, there was a lady that wrote a column for some magazine. Said she had caught the show and that everything was good in the show, but there was a bright young fella that moved the piano with class and beautiful timing. And then the guy offered me a steady job. So I said, "What about the guy that I'm just subbing tonight for?" Well, he had another club called Cafe Society uptown. He said, "I'll move him uptown." So he said he'd give me $18 a week, and I was still working around the garment center. I said, "Okay." And I thanked Josh White. Anyway, they had a bad lighting there. So I had been around the Apollo Theater a lot. I saw how beautiful the stage looked with the colors. And I asked the guy, Bonnie that is, that I could say, put some color in the little pea shoot lights we got. They were nothing. But I was wearing this bellhop uniform with all the buttons. So I said, "I got this guy on the rope. Maybe I could get a suit." He let me buy a suit, but it was out of that same bellhop material. I wanted to play saxophone. But the teacher I had, he said, "I think, there's plenty other things you can do in life besides playing saxophone." And Mary Lou was telling me, say, "There's a whole lot you could do. You like the stage, blah, blah, blah." But I enhanced it myself. I would go to the parlor and look and watch things, how they lit the stage, and then, So, but my greatest achievement, I think, was the Sarah Vaughan for so many years.
Tell me about Sarah.
Well, Sarah was like a little girl, man. She left everything to whoever had to do that. And one thing I did her stay, I wouldn't let her do nothing. When she go on stage, we dressed her all in white. because we could play colors on the gown and put the paint 35 on the face, and that would stay. And on ballads, I could change colors on the gown, and we do fade outs on the fade, Irish out on the fade. It got to be that she sang for the lights, the feeling, and then she, Sarah's got kind of class, funny. She don't never end nothing the same way, never. So where she would say she playing Poor Butterfly, she would end the day, and then Mara, she tried to change up on you to screw you up on the lights. But if you listen to Sarah, you always knew when she was going out on her tune, or she was gonna change tempos and things like that. But that was a magnificent job for just lighting her and being her road manager and everything. I don't know, she was just God-gifted. She was God-gifted, man. She could sing anything she wanted.
Aside from vocalist, do you have a favorite instrument to cater to?
My favorite instrument?
Mm-hmm.
Saxophone. That's what I wanted to play. That's my favorite instrument.
So I guess you've been blessed to have worked with anybody who's anybody on saxophone.
I can't, sometimes I just hear a name and I said, oh, I work with that guy. Oh, I work with that lady. I've been very fortunate. I worked with four, I should say, like Rose Murphy, Nellie Lutcher, Patty Page, Kay Starr, Ella Fitzgerald, Billie Holiday, and Diamond. These things come like, say Sarah take off 4 weeks. In those days, they ain't pay you. And Donna would say, oh, you're not working? Go here with me. Go, Same with Donna Washington, all that, man. It was beautiful, Your reputation, I think, precedes you or something, and say, oh, it's just like Jimmy Heath might want to do something on stage. He say, you busy? Frank West, you busy? Like that. And Dr. Taylor, Billy Taylor, is the cause of me still being here at Jazzmobile, right? Every time he go out of town, he said, I'm going to do so and so and so, and he said, can you go? I said, well, you asked Dave, which was the executive director, but Dave Bailey was working for him, so there was no problem, But I've been fortunate that way. I did Philip Morris tours for 10 years, which was a great job. The money was fantastic, unbelievable, what they paid. Still tight with Philip Morris. I did the Charlie Parker festivals. Matter of fact, I brought Charlie Parker festival uptown. Of course, when I was working for the guy in the village, Sam Turbin, I said, Charlie Parker, I don't mean to be racial, is a black artist. How come it's not done in Harlem? He said, well, there's no place to play. So I said, you kidding? And I took him to Marcus Garvey Park. And he saw it, he fell in love with that atrium, right? He said, okay, you produce it. Which if you look on the wall, you'll see that I got a big write-up in the Amsterdam one. Anyway, I said, okay. So he said, it's $50,000. So produce it. So we got a permit for the park there on that Saturday, because they do downtown, they did on Sundays, right? And I got Irene Reed, Houston Preston, Etta Jones, Jimmy Heath, Frank West, right? Lou Donaldson, and I got I think it was a Latin band. I think his name. I got him, And I spent the whole 15,000 on talent, because I'm getting paid differently anyway. And it was a tremendous success. And I kept doing it until I told the girl that I was working for, after I did my promotion, my production, she left. So, and I didn't get along with the woman that took her place, because I used to do both of them, uptown and downtown. So now it's Marcus Garvey's in every year, right? I worked with some of the greatest, and nobody is greater than a jazz musician. Nobody. Because they work under all kinds of circumstances. And you know, we had, I managed Birdland for 5 years. The real one, that's up there too, the real one. And they had Birdland shows, Duke Ellington, Nat Cole. I remember sitting with Nat in Tampa one night, the funny man, and he always does this all the time when he talks, you know, and he says, you know, John, no, they call me Ziegfeld, that's right. Duke Ellington gave me that name. Say, you know, the government takes 3/4 out of every one of my dollars, and I have 1/4 left. So I say, hey, Nat, but you got a lot of quarters left, man. you know. We used to go to ball games together. He's a baseball addict. He was, you know.
That was back before he had that.
Before he got sick. Oh yeah, this is before he had the little 15-minute Wild Root show. Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, you know, I've seen clips from that.
Yeah, it was 15 minutes Wild Root. Probably, and Perry Como had it for a minute there. Yeah, Nathaniel. I don't understand, after what I've seen, and I know what Jazzmobile doing. You know, like we got a workshop where we bring in jazz musicians to teach these kids and adults. I don't understand why nobody has built a building for Jazzmobile in Harlem. Why we always gotta pander for funds? I mean, this place is an institution. You know, do you know, in the summer we used to have 2 floats in the summer. We used to do over 200 concerts in 2 months. Now we got 1. And some of the people that come to Jazzmobile in the summer, that's the only time you see them. But if you take Jimmy Heath, if he's in a club, nobody goes from Jazzmobile. Maybe a few, I can't say that. Might go see the guy. But I mean, jazz is our music. And we should never have to have a problem with having an audience. You go to Grant's Tomb, right?
Yeah, of course.
You got 3,000 people there. I remember Art Blakey and Dizzy, before they died, when they play there, they would say, if just a little bit of y'all come to the club, he said, I'd have a full house. And this, I don't understand that. You can get 3,000 people to come to Grant's Tomb. I don't care who's playing. And you can't get 100 of them to go to the Vanguard or the Blue Note when you got these artists working. You know, you can't take all the time. You gotta give. And these musicians, let's say every time there's somebody that got a benefit for something, the first thing they do is call a jazz musician. Look at jazz musician. Like our workshop, where we teach music. God bless all the guys that passed. We had Dizzy, Milt Jackson, Frank Foster, he's still here, Frank West. All these people taught over there, and they wasn't making any money. Frank Foster had a big band of students, like 40 people. We're supposed to be out the building at 4. Sometimes he stayed there at 10 at night with these kids. But jazz will be here. You ain't going away. It'll be here. But we don't have the masters anymore. We got to create more masters. We don't have the masters. The masters gone.
Well, I mean, you guys have done a pretty good job of cultivating the new generation of masters. When you look at what Winard, for example, has done.
Wycliffe Gardens, guys like that. But it's so rare. It's few. You understand what I'm saying? Can you remember when Grant's Tomb on Wednesday you'd have Jimmy Heath, Frank West, Dizzy Gillespie, Art Blakey, I mean Dexter Gordon. I mean, just with the lineup. You don't get that no more. Now we got to try to bring in new artists, and I don't know if we pushing it on the people, but at the same time, we don't have to worry about pushing them on the people because they don't buy no tickets.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying?
That's very true.
Because I always tell them, if you're not happy, you can get a refund at gate 12. You see what I'm saying? You can push it on them because when you don't buy a ticket, you have to accept what we give you because we're giving you the best we can give you.
That's right.
You know, and Robin, the boss, she's always seeking new talent to put on to you. That she does that. She said, oh, maybe we got to try this. And a lot of times I said, oh no, it ain't gonna work, but it works.